Since its release back in August of 2019, the Apple Card has seen over 6 million holders in under 2 years' time. But why is it so popular when, in my opinion, there are so many better cards out there? Well, in this video, we'll be breaking down all of the card's features because they are pretty unique, how the card stacks up against some of the other cards out there, and if you should sign up for this card. So let's get started with the first major point of the card, which is having $0 no annual fee. And Apple is smart to do so because one study found that 60% of people think having no annual fees is a very important factor when choosing a card. But you and I know that having annual fees on a card isn't in and of itself a bad thing, especially when you can get even more value than you pay for the annual fee. Like if you're paying $0 but getting $100 in value, versus paying $100 but getting $500 in value, you'd probably choose the latter. Although I wouldn't say the $0 annual fee is a bad thing at all, mainly because Apple just wants to get as many people into their ecosystem as possible. But what is a big downside is that the Apple Card has no welcome bonus. When compared to other cards like the Chase Freedom Flex or the Freedom Unlimited, both giving $200 of bonus and a 5% in a certain category, or even the Citi Custom Cash Card with its $200 back, the Apple Card really does not stack up. One popular comparison that I've seen other YouTubers make is against the Chase Freedom Unlimited with its 1.5% back on all of your spend. Although the Apple Card does have 2% back if you're paying with Apple Pay, more on that later, and it is 0.5% higher, you'll need to spend $40,000 in order to make up for the $200 in bonus you get from the Freedom Unlimited. And for most people, you probably aren't spending that type of money on this card, and if you are, you're using the wrong card, my friend. But what most don't notice is that from time to time, Apple does have some limited time sign-up offers for the card, like getting $75 to spend at Nike within the first 30 days, or $50 when you spend $50 at Panera Bread. But even with those offers, A, they're kind of hard to use, and B, it's still nowhere near, say, the $200 you can get from the other cards we mentioned. So the welcome bonus is a major weak point of the Apple Card. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying credit card content like this, remember to tap that like button for the YouTube algorithm because it'll help a lot. Thank you so much. Now onto the cashback you get for spending on this card, which is where things get more interesting. For the majority of people with this card, you're probably using Apple Wallet with an Apple device, which is good because you'll be getting 2% cash back on all of your spend when you're paying through Apple Pay, and only when you use Apple Pay. Yes, most places take tap nowadays, but if you were thinking of taking out that titanium card to pay and show off to all your friends, you're doing it wrong. Because if you're thinking of using the physical card to pay, you're only getting 1% cashback. That basically means you should never use the card by itself, and because it's likely loaded into your Apple Wallet anyways, you probably don't even need to carry it around. Knowing Apple and the walled garden they've built up, this is not surprising because it's just another way to keep people in the ecosystem. 2% on a credit card isn't even that special. So by using Apple products, you're getting a decent return with 2%. But if you're not using Apple products and getting the 1% cashback, it's a really mediocre card. Now, more on what makes this card unique is that you'll be getting 3% cash back whenever you spend on Apple products, including Apple services like the App Store. So if you're transacting within the Apple ecosystem a ton, then it comes in pretty nice. Although personally, I'd probably open another credit card like the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Reserved and use my Apple purchases to hit minimum spend in order to get the sign-up bonuses on those cards that are worth so much more than the extra 1% cashback you get. Aside from that, you'll also get 3% back when you're spending in a specific few places like Panera Bread, Uber and Uber Eats, Walgreens, and more. Note that although this card has no foreign transaction fees, if you're spending at these locations outside of the US, you're not getting the 3% back. Although there has been a time where Apple has given 3% back on all Apple Pay purchases for a certain limited time, which would make this a pretty compelling card during that time. Speaking of cashback, another unique feature is that you're getting daily cashback. That means the cashback you get from the card is given out daily, compared to most other cards that will pay you out at the end of each month. For most people, this probably isn't a big deal though, because the cashback you incur every day is probably small enough that you don't desperately need it the next day. So it's a nice sounding perk, but it's not actually that useful in my opinion. Alright, so far the card is pretty mediocre unless you're spending within the Apple ecosystem. And this theme continues throughout the rest of the features. We already talked about getting 3% back when paying for Apple products and Apple services, but you could also pay for Apple products over time with no interest while still getting a 3% in daily cashback. Yes, money now is worth more than money later. So as long as you stick to the payment schedule, it's a pretty nice feature to have. But I wouldn't solely get this card to use this feature, mainly because if you can't afford to buy out the product all at once anyways, you probably shouldn't be buying that item. But if you can, there are other better cards out there to hit minimum spend with, like we talked about with the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Reserve. However, what's not talked about a lot is that Apple sometimes runs more promotions, like getting 6% back on Apple purchases, which was run near the holidays in 2021. In that case, it was an amazing offer if you had a lot of Apple products to buy. Alright, next, Apple is a major software company, and their amazing user experience carries throughout how you use the card. One of the cool features is getting real-time interest calculations depending on how much you're paying off your bill every single month. This is something that will encourage people to pay less interest, which I applaud Apple for doing so, but in general, remember that when you're using credit cards, you should never be paying interest anyways, and you should be paying off your bill in full every single month. Another thing is that Apple will let you create an Apple Card family where you can see and manage your family on the account, like helping build good spending habits for your kids. They've also baked a pretty seamless sign-up process for the card too. The process to see if you're approved is pretty simple and does not require a hard pull that could drop your credit score a few points. But if you choose to accept the offer and actually apply for the card, knowing you've already been approved, then it will still hit your credit score. Then when you sign up, and because they encourage you to use Apple Pay anyways, you could use the card right away instead of having to wait for the card to arrive. So when they had the offer of 6% back on Apple product purchases, they probably got a huge influx of new customers. And with the actual card itself, Apple design never ceases to amaze me. It's a nice, minimal, and sleek titanium card that claims to be more secure given that the card number is nowhere on the card, adding to the premium look. I know a lot of young adults nowadays love this type of aesthetic, so Apple definitely knows their crowd. And with anything Apple, their customer service is amazing, and it extends to this card too, giving people 24/7 access to support through calling or even through text. This is pretty up there on par with American Express customer service, where they let you call or do live chat online 24/7. So with that said, is the Apple Card really a simpler and smarter credit card like they claim on their website? I'd say yes. It's an aesthetic, simple to use card that really benefits people in the Apple ecosystem, just like how they intended it to be. But even then, there are so many other cards out there that could give you more in value, even if you just put in minimal extra work to do so. If you really desire the simplicity and the integration with Apple products above everything else, then this card is for you. But if you want to maximize your rewards, even for minimal work, there are much better cards out there, which is why you should check out this video where I break down all the cards in my wallet and why I'm happily paying over $1,000 in annual fees to keep them open. That said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.